Atma follows its own norms. Your ability to do miracles doesn't prove your true spiritual worthiness. One must know the cause of consciousness and what it is due to. We have to know how we are related to consciousness. The use of intellect is concerned with prana, and it doesn't indicate any progress in spirituality. All jnanis do not have the same qualities. Sage Narada was very senior to Krishna, who differed from the former. The physical body qualities do not give any indication about one's realization. Self-realization doesn't depend on the body and its abilities. Your intellectual ideas about Atma cannot be correct, as Atma is prior to intellect. When we do not know ourselves, what can we know about others? All our experiences are due to mind. Hence, all changing states cannot be beyond mind. A jnani remains unaffected by words. Can two people have the same dream? We see everything in our consciousness, and experiences differ with individuals. We call someone good or bad as per the behavior of the body or mentality. Who makes the best use of his or her consciousness? Just as dreams differ with persons, their knowledge also differs. Pure consciousness is the same for all, but how can mental modifications be the same? I would prefer an atheist to a false spiritualist. If you reject the word God, do you have any knowledge about that? You have your consciousness, which is itself God. How can you reject it? Atma follows its own norms and not those of the body. The nature of Atma cannot be described. You identify with the body and take responsibility for every action. Instead, look into the cause of I consciousness. You cannot avoid beingness, but can only know its facts. If it were in your hands, you would have avoided this appearance in a body form. You come to know the concept of being only after its appearance and not before. How can you avoid it? Know that you are not the concept and be free. Do you need instructions that you should not eat dirt? A jnani has only one feature, and it is self-knowledge. External appearances like any mark upon the forehead, garland, etc., do not indicate the inner realization. They are only popular concepts. Forgetting all else, only be, after the cause of the I am thought. Ask when and how did it appear? Is I am Brahman only a concept? That is only to end the I am the body concept. A rogue must meet his match. Self-knowledge has no purpose other than removing ignorance about self. We must know how our being is related to the existence of this world. We have to ferret out their meeting place, their hangout joint. What is the meaning of our meeting ourselves? Self-knowledge has no purpose other than removing ignorance about self. We must know how our being is related to the existence of this world. We have to ferret out their meeting place, their hangout joint. What is the meaning of our meeting ourselves? Because of our self-love, we have to love others as well. Without need to exist, there cannot be self-love. Then we don't need others. The meaning of I am that is I am only that and nothing else. One should be free of remembrance and dependence as they lead to bondage. Now, you worry about children, but when they did not exist, did you remember them? As you get more acquainted and draw closer to people, your unhappiness increases. The presence of your relatives and friends makes you an individual soul, and your memory makes you unhappy. The Shiva principle is the manifested and all-pervading. It is in an ant, in a worm, and you can find it in dirt as well. Is it crying? No. However, the memory of I and mine is torturing us. If our prana leaves now, how are we concerned with all our memories? Then why not live life as if the prana has left? Why to live a life full of worries? There are infinite worries. Which of them should we choose to be unhappy? There is absence of relatives and friends after death. Why not be comfortable in that state now itself? You had parents, and now you are their incarnation. The consciousness bliss means joy and humor. I am free of memories. Without fire, I have roasted and consumed myself. Atma in the body is like warmth in hot water. Krishna says, I am in the hearts of all the living beings, but I am clearly manifested and direct in a human heart. Our consciousness is self-luminous and is called Bhagavan, as it is my eminent personage. One who realizes the nature of this self-love is identical to me. All living beings exist because of me. My eminent personage means my own self. In a speck of gold or its heap, the content is gold. The consciousness in human form is very prominently my eminent personage. One who realizes this secret merges into my form. Then he knows the movable as well as the immovable, not intellectually but directly. As I am prior to intellect, it is of no use to find me. What is prior to memory cannot be remembered. Is there attention in meditation, or the meditation is on attention? There is no reply to this. What is prior to our sense of being is the unstained and without attributes. Our activities happen due to mental modifications. What the sages say are their thought waves. The sense of being must be contented. The sense of being cannot be shown, but we get its indication from the mental modifications. Our consciousness means the news I am, and our body is its food. Just as there is warmth in hot water, there is Atma in body. When water cools, is warmth dead? Did it get extinguished? When the vital breath leaves the body, is there absence of self-consciousness? For consciousness there is neither coming nor going. Due to consciousness you know, and the knower of consciousness is Parabrahman, which is without attributes. You have forgotten yourself, due to attachment and memories of your relations and friends. Our memory of being appeared, which is called Krishna or Goddess Kali with 8 arms. Krishna was the 8th child of his parents, and our memory, I am, is also the result of 5 elements and the 3 gunas, the total becoming again the figure of 8. The one who is without a second became self-conscious and appeared in many bodies. Then which is his true body or true uniform? Can any dress match him? However a sage may be respected and honored by people, he remains untouched and unaffected. A jnani who is proud of his knowledge is still raw, and not a ripe mango. Nothing can happen by your action. Since you accept being a doer, you are bound to become unhappy. Ishvara takes care of you not by the use of an intellect. His 5 limbs are earth, water, fire, air, and space, all of which have no use of the intellect. The 6th is consciousness, which also doesn't need intellect. And the Ani only appears to be doing or managing things, but his bliss is untouched. Don't do anything. Only realize what you have heard and be free of the known. Don't assume any pose. The knower of consciousness is unaffected by the mental modifications irrespective of the behavior of body. There is only Ishvara and none else. Then whom is he favoring? He is the only enjoyer or sufferer. Once you are able to stabilize prior to consciousness, then you become one with everybody. Remember a simple thing. The memory I am, which has appeared undesired, is the only thief and the only God. He is the giver and also the receiver. If Ishvara is showering his grace on you, is it for him or for you? Without you, can there be Ishvara? No material or equipment can be of any use to attain Parabrahman. Adidhyatma is prior to everything. You are responsible for coming and going of millions of gods, Hari, Ishvara, etc. Adidhyatma means that which is prior to all appearances and scenes. You are prior to everything and already at the bottom. Hence, there is no question of going beyond. If you realize your non-dual nature, where is the question of alliance with others? You are the knower of the Word, but the Word doesn't know you. Hence, the question of freedom from the Word doesn't arise. When the taste, I am, is not, is there Ishvara? He is the light of my consciousness. After leaving this place, you will live as per your likes. But if you remember these talks again and again, you will become free of likes and choices. As long as I consume the food body juices, the breathing will go on. You are so worried about your health, but when you were invisible to your parents, who provided air, water, and food to you? Who was responsible for the growth of the body? This body is only an essence of the consumed food. All spiritual practices are like self-inflicted punishment. Still, people cannot do without them. When true knowledge is so simple, these practices are uncalled for. The wise follow only the sages and avoid suffering. And the Ani is free of self-consciousness and emotions. Normal people, however great, cannot transcend their intellect. A yogi who is in samadhi for 10 years is confined to the aperture of Brahman, which is in the crown of the head. What do you expect to happen so that you can say that you have realized? It is enough to know that all animals, birds, worms, and ants originate from you. Is it necessary to love the entire world? Prior to consciousness, you were in a non-dual state. With consciousness, you became aware of others and duality began. Is it not? Are you free of the greed to exist? That itself is bondage. The experience of existence itself is false. When you speak, you also hear it, and the meaning is also yours. Let the word and its meaning be termed as Jiva, and its knower as Shiva. In reality, the Jiva and Shiva are names of one and the same. The form of Shiva is consciousness itself. The power of prana is very great. When it leaves the body, Shiva has no objection. You are able to see the sun and moon only when your light, that is, the consciousness, touches them. Shiva and Jiva are names, but Shiva is prior to all names. All knowledge is because of consciousness, which is Shiva's form. Shiva has no attachment, as that is a sign of the Jiva state. Before meditating, know what Shiva is. Your consciousness is his form. Prior to self-knowledge, never identify with body. After realization, you will come to know all those billions of bodies as your own. Know that the listener has no bondage and there is no need to liberate him. Everything is in the aperture of Brahman. There is bliss only in the presence of consciousness. It is the bliss experienced by consciousness. Bliss is only a quality and not the eternal truth. What you call as Para-Brahman doesn't know its own existence. For Para-Brahman, you have to transcend Brahman. Are you aware of the moments because of consciousness? Or because of the moments are you aware of consciousness? The answer is, only as long as there is consciousness, you are aware of the moments. There is nothing outside your aperture of Brahman. Whatever is seen or appears is all in Brahmaranda only. When you chant the mantra given by the Guru, you realize the reality of his words. On the other hand, the name given by your parents takes you only to the grave. How does self-realization take place? One who follows the Guru's words with full faith finds realization as simple as waking up from sleep. He doesn't need to take lessons for that. A true disciple is beyond the power of time. There is birth due to sattva, but Atma is not bound by its quality. At the end, people say that prana has left the body, but for Atma, there is neither coming nor going. Atma is not bound by prana. Atma in a human form must have its own knowledge. There is nothing in this world greater than the devotion to the Guru. When even the Vedas became helpless, the Guru can help his disciples. A disciple must have the conviction that I am exactly as per the Guru's words. Your condition with body identity is like that of a reflection in water. Make use of the body without identifying with it. In our eternal state there was an absence of the memory I am, but now it is there. Why and how did this happen? Normally we don't investigate this. Only a rare one amongst millions gives a serious thought to this. Because of our consciousness, we have memory of our being. The earnest disciple gives attention to the consciousness only, as commanded by the Guru. As one progresses in meditation, one gets various experiences and ability to perform miracles. This attracts public interest and one receives undue importance and honor. Most disciples get stuck in this, and only a rare one, full of viveka, goes ahead. There is fire due to an electrical short circuit. In the same way, due to short circuit between the male and female, there is an appearance of this consciousness. You have heard the words like Jivatma and Paramatma. But what is prior to listening to anything? What was the cause of your ability to listen and how? Without consciousness, what do we have with us? Because of our consciousness, we are aware of time. This gives rise to the concept of a lifespan. It is the duration during which our consciousness exists. One who got established in yoga realized the cause of consciousness due to which Paramatma came to know his existence. This yogi is called a jnani, and he is not part of the known. Although a jnani's outward behavior appears like that of any ignorant person, the inner tranquility of the former makes the difference. A jnani knows that the qualities of none of the 5 elements can describe him. There is spontaneous creation during a rainy season without any creator. Nothing can help you to recognize a true knower. To know him, you must be like him by constant meditation. Keep the consciousness pure without thoughts. The Guru has told you that you are pure consciousness, and you have to be it. Everyone has the true knowledge, which is wrongly covered with a body identity. Know it, and be free. Consciousness is the quality of wet food juices. It cannot last in the absence of water. In order to know the gross, you must first know the subtle. Don't be satisfied with the gross, but go deeper. All appearances have risen from the earth. Has anybody come from heaven or hell? When the vital breath leaves, consciousness becomes non-conscious. None dies. When consciousness forgets itself, it is called nirguna. Whatever you have heard and believed to be true, you have to suffer its effects. Hence, have faith that all is false. Although a jnani appears because of his body, he is one with the world and full of knowledge. Even then, he is without attributes, as he is the knower of all. The whole world appears in the space within an atom of consciousness. Your feeling of being in the world is the beginning of pain. Our beingness itself is a dream, and with its departure one becomes free. All this happens in the aperture of Brahman. The feeling of waking in Brahmarandra gives rise to the vast world. With changes in Brahmarandra, the world also changes. Hence I tell you to give up I amness, but your trust in the body comes in your way. Can a jnani believe this universe to be true when he knows that it appears in a speck of sattva, made of 5 elements? The ignorant people believe it to be true, and the result is unhappiness. A jnani is neither a sufferer nor an enjoyer. These affect only the body identity. You have to drop all concepts and know the truth. You must recognize the cause of beingness. Then you are the unborn, who never came and therefore has no going, no birth or death. It requires more time to complete any good work, but the insignificant happens instantaneously. Still, the former is worth doing first. A jnani knows the origin of consciousness. Normally, none tries to know the origin or the cause of existence. We give no importance to knowing how and why we have started to know that we exist. Only a rare one among millions tries to find out that. The truth of this matter can be known only by meditating on consciousness, as instructed by the Guru. This demands total attention to consciousness, leaving all other things and thoughts aside. This practice can give certain supernatural powers and all spiritual experiences which receive public attention, recognition, and honor. This can become a hindrance to the unworthy, but not to one who is full of viveka. Our knowledge of existence has resulted from a short circuit between male and female, similar to the electrical short circuit. We freely use the terms of Jivatma and Paramatma because we have heard them. But how did you get the ability to hear? What was responsible for that? What is the importance of your consciousness? Without it, would you have known that you exist? Consciousness is responsible for your knowledge of time, and you live as long as it lasts. Your lifespan is the duration from beginning of consciousness to its end. In other words, from its appearance to disappearance. The word yoga means union. To start knowing our existence is to have yoga with consciousness, the yoga of not knowing to knowing. Who knows how this yoga occurred? One who knows is a jnani. He doesn't remain a part of the known, but he is the knower. A jnani cannot be recognized by his outward appearance or behavior, which need not be much different from that of the ignorant. What is important is the inner freedom of the jnani. He is beyond the 5 elements, which are incapable of describing him, or they cannot be quoted as an example to explain how a jnani is. A jnani is beyond all the known. During monsoon, we see new creation all around. This is all a spontaneous happening, needing no creator. Meditation means keeping the consciousness pure, without thoughts. The Guru tells you that you are pure consciousness. Our faith in the body as our form comes in the way of proper knowledge. The wetness of food material or the sattva quality gives rise to consciousness, which vanishes in the absence of the water content of food. True knowledge is a journey from the subtle to gross aspect of existence. All the visible objects appear from the earth. Has anything come down from the heaven? Consciousness has no death, but just appearance where there is prana, and disappearance when prana departs. The nirguna state is nothing other than consciousness forgetting itself. Whatever you hear and accept as truth affects you as per your belief. The best way is to reject all as untruth. A jnani is nirguna despite being in a body, which is a part of the saguna world. Nirguna is the unmanifested, and saguna is the manifested. He is the knower of all. The entire world is contained in an atom of consciousness. Our unhappiness begins with our imagination of living in the world. But that is like a dream state, the waking from which gives freedom. It is in the Brahmaranda point in the crown of the head that everything happens. The feeling of being awake which happens at that point gives rise to the entire world. A change in the Brahmaranda changes the world. You must drop the feeling of being I in a separate body. That erroneous feeling comes in your way to truth. How can a jnani believe in the existence of a vast world in the minutest atom of sattva made of the 5 elements? But the ignorant believes so and suffers. A jnani is neither an enjoyer nor a sufferer. Those who believe in being the body enjoy or suffer. All concepts must get dropped for the recognition of truth. You should know the origin of the sense of being or your memory of being. That knowledge will free you from birth and death. This may require some time, but it is the best that any human being can achieve. The good things of life need longer time to get, but the worthless can be obtained faster. Universe is a form of waking state. What you believe yourself to be changes continuously. What you are in reality is already there now, and prior to all appearances. But all your beliefs about yourself are going to vanish. Nothing can give you lasting company. Even the waking and sleep states were absent, and they are now responsible for the appearance of your beingness and the world. There was a time when the 5 elements were absent. Then your beingness too did not exist. Then what happened? Then you were full and complete without even the need to exist. The universe is a form of the waking state. The sleep state means relaxation and complete rest. The word state indicates changing and not in order. Although no experiences are faithful and none gives true knowledge, still you stick to them. The experience of the waking state differs from that of the dream state, and the sleep state experience is not in the waking state. The I amness is present only in the waking and dream states. One who comments about the dishonesty of all experiences, can he ever die? He is the eternal. Your entire existence is full of mental modifications. Did you love your existence when you were without waking and sleep states? There is neither any creator nor destroyer, for all is this burst of the primary illusion. Just by waking, our self-knowledge takes the form of the whole universe. The appearance of the waking state was the cause for sprouting of the universe. That gave rise to the hopes to exist. The seer of the dream world saw the entire world and the people in it. But did even one of the characters in the dream recognize the seer? There is not a single day when worry and fear are not. I amness appeared without your asking for it. And when it goes, where's your world and all of the nature? When you are awake, that state is full of objects. But when sleep overtakes, the waking merges into the seer. It doesn't go anywhere. But the states were absent and they are bound to disappear again. They have no death. Fortunately, if you meet the one who is complete, he can truly open your eyes so that you also have the experience of immortality. The true devotees of a guru become deathless. Presently you get real rest only in deep sleep and not while awake. You have to solve this riddle of waking sleep in order to know your true self. Your existence, with certain name and form, has no other purpose. All your achievements and earning take you only to death. Your sorrow, unhappiness, and fear are only a semblance, which you have accepted as reality. Our scriptures say you have taken infinite births, which is only a concept. Do you remember even one of those births? Is there any experience of even a single death? When will you become aware of this confusion? Only when you have the conviction of being the most natural self-luminous consciousness as per the Guru's command. Only the Guru can give you the true vision of seeing yourself as immortal. Then you will know yourself as the seer of waking and sleeping from a distance. The scriptures say that your acceptance of the false as true gets you the death sentence and rebirth time and again. Meditate on the inner Guru, and he will show you what death is and what immortality is. The entire existence is only a disturbance. When we hear about someone as a sage, we only have to see if anything disturbs his tranquility. While acting in this world, there is no need to exhibit absence of worldly passion. See for yourself that you are the whole and complete self, which encompasses the entire existence. Atma is only a witness. What does the word Atma indicate? All activities are due to prana. Even samadhi is due to prana. Atma is only a witness. Atma is responsible for our I amness. We know we are because of it. Hence, Atma expresses as our consciousness. Atma is always free. The only bondage is due to the mind identifying with the body. When prana separates from body, the consciousness becomes non-conscious. The ignorant believe in death, but that doesn't apply to a jnani. Neither prana nor consciousness have any death. You see this world because of your mind. The physical body is food of prana, and we cannot be that. Our consciousness is the quality of a cell of food material, and the whole universe is contained in it. You have heard that Maya is false and Brahman is true. But as a listener, you are responsible for both. All your activities are based on hearsay, the first word being that of your mother. All your experience is time-bound. When your time is finished, will there be any consciousness? Try to remain without any word. This is almost impossible, but you have to do it. One who becomes free of all concepts, including I am, is in a bliss which cannot be described. Maya appears in many forms, none of which is true. In the initial states, a disciple recognizes no God other than his own consciousness. As long as there are words, you also have their meaning. When there are no words, their meaning too vanishes. When you become single-pointed, you will know the secret of Maya. One who is responsible for the creation of this world wrongly believes oneself to be a part of it. This erroneous belief is responsible for the fear of death. The human consciousness is bigger than the world. Maya means fun and amusement. Our sense of being expresses as humor, laughter, crying, and many other forms. Paramatma appears in each one of us as our consciousness. It is its expression or advertisement. A sage, or the knower of this world, is the resting place of consciousness. There is no happiness in consciousness or in the world appearing in it. How can the incomplete give complete happiness? It is necessary to know the incomplete for true eternal happiness. The full and complete cannot be witnessed, as all witnessing happens to that. The final experience is to see the end of Maya. Then your true and eternal nature will become clear. Desire Atma and leave the mind alone. Your requirements are many, but what do you definitely know about your true identity? You take yourself to be the body, which is only a food material on which consciousness sustains. And yet, you are sure of being the body. You experience the vast world in and out because of your beingness. But how long are you going to have its company? Why do you have beingness now? And why was it not there always? all your possessions are based on your body identity, which is not going to last long. If you are definitely going to die, what is the use of your mundane and spiritual life? All our activities are only to tolerate or forget beingness. You cannot prevent what is bound to happen. The only use of chanting of mantra and penance is to reduce fear with the hopes of divine intervention. Whatever may be your worry, your main interest is to sustain or tolerate beingness. We forget ourselves in continuous work, and when tired, we go to sleep. You come to know your existence because of consciousness, and all your knowledge follows thereafter. You may call your consciousness as Guru or God, and without it there is nothing. Meditate on your consciousness or on self-love and forget everything else. Always remember that you are consciousness and not the body. During the day you are busy and cannot remain alone. At night, who sleeps? Is it not your consciousness? Before going to sleep, give attention to it. Whatever you think while going to sleep, these thoughts are due to your work. Just as seeds covered in mud emerge as trees, your thoughts while sleeping come to fruition. As you have taken an oath to follow the Guru's command, surrender to your consciousness. Any kind of effort is of no use in our spirituality. This consciousness is self-luminous, and it has appeared spontaneously. Your efforts to change anything will be with body identity. They can only harm without serving any useful purpose. Hence, give attention to that due to which you know your body. Your competence of being is due to Atma. Worship it. This confidence does not need your belief. It is self-luminous. Your intellect is useful for all worldly activities. It may be great, but it is your own light. Never get trapped in it. The easiest way in our spirituality is to chant Jaya Guru mentally without a break. Never stop until you go to sleep. Then the chant will continue in sleep as well. If you become a true devotee, you are bound to be transformed into God. Sage Tukaram is not prepared for this non-duality with God, but this preference is only after Tukaram's self-realization. He loves to continue his devotion. Is your confidence of existence a matter of belief? Your existence is independent and it comes first. All your beliefs follow later. Most of the people worship God or Brahman, but only a rare one worships consciousness by itself. How can you realize the self as long as you are full of memories and thoughts? When you succeed in making friendship with your consciousness, your existence will be full of fun and bliss. In reality, consciousness is free of body and is blissful. There is no question of male or female there. It is irreligious to identify consciousness with the body. Are you not confident in your being first, that is, prior to having any other confidence in words, etc.? Develop a longing for Atma by leaving the mind alone. When there are words and their meaning, there is also mind. Without words, where is it? While chanting Jaya Guru, if you remain awake, that state is better than sleep. Such devotion knows no failure even in mundane life. One who establishes in consciousness may stay anywhere, even in a cemetery, and that will become a place of pilgrimage. Give a thought to the greatness of a human body which even Ishwara would love to have. Its content is more than that of Brahman. Who has made this world so beautiful? Are not human ideas responsible for it? You may act in the world as you like, but never forget the importance of your consciousness. There should be no breach of trust. When you truly know Atma, your unborn nature becomes clear to you. Your physical body being a part of material existence, including all planets and stars, their interaction cannot be denied. The situation at the time of birth is photographed spontaneously, and that influences future events. Although an infant has no intelligence, it contains the photograph of its parents, which guides its future growth. A collection of these photographs is the destiny of the infant. This happening is irrespective of the sex of the infant. You come across many inventions in this world, but none knows the secret of photography of the worldly situations in our consciousness. This photography continues for all the five senses, that is, hearing, touch, seeing, taste, and smell. The secret of this is very difficult to comprehend, and those who succeed are the unborn. There were many incarnations of God, but each one had a guru. A guru is a must to help us realize our greatness. One who has full faith in the guru's words becomes a Mahatma. This can happen only if the consciousness gets inspiration from within. Hence, we do not insist on getting good response from everybody. Out of so many who come here, only a rare one gets inspiration to realize one's unborn nature. Can you ever have the conviction to say that you are unborn? The seer is present, but he is not the eyes nor the act of seeing. He sees the world and nature, but he is not in them. One's belief to the contrary only indicates one's impure nature. Your dream world arises from you, but you accept being a part of it. It is only due to the influence of Maya that you believe in your birth and desire complete welfare. The so-called birth is due to sattva, and it is the quality of food material. One who has the conviction of not being sattva is a jnani. Out of millions of people, only a rare one has the conviction of not being tainted by any or all worldly activities. Give due reverence to these talks, which you are fortunate to listen to. That will bring happiness to your present life. You will get the help and service which is deserved only by Paramatma. Don't worry about the future. Guru Purnima is to remember the Guru on a specific full moon day every year. It indicates the fullness of self. Every moment in the life of a sage is an indirect worship. You cannot know a Satguru with your consciousness. In fact, he is beyond recognition. An earnest disciple who waters the seed of the Guru's teachings turns it into the tree of realization. Then consciousness is seen as ever free. The Satguru is beyond description, but we can meditate on him as the eternal, desireless, and unconditioned. What do you rely upon when you act in this world? You rely on your beingness, which is not going to last long. Whatever your mind and consciousness knows, all of it is unreliable. Even if you are unable to see the Satguru, he has made his treasure of the true and eternal available for you. The Satguru is the unconditioned, who is one with Brahman. Those who are busy in their publicity are not Satgurus. You must know the false as false, which you are not. Follow the Guru's command and meditate so that you will know the origin of your consciousness. Death is only a concept which cannot be removed by imagination. You must become free of conceptualization. Be faithful to your confidence you are. Then there will be no need to worry about the future. Go to the source of this world which has appeared spontaneously. There was a state when even Maya was not, and she accepts her ignorance about that state. What exists forever is the changeless. To know it, worship the Guru wholeheartedly and single-pointedly. If you try to achieve anything by your activities, you will get entangled in them. That itself is bondage. What are your worries other than those of your body? All your devotion and worship with your body identity cannot provide you real tranquility. Although all sages are the expression of one and the same truth, their experiences and appearances differ. But one cannot act or pretend as one. Consciousness, which you have, is bigger than any god or goddess. Even these gods cannot give you lasting peace. When you know the source of consciousness, you will realize your true nature as an ocean of tranquility. When you know that you are not the body, your bodiless nature becomes clear. When the feeling and emotions are cleared, what remains is pure sattva, full of viveka. This discrimination destroys all concepts and separates truth from illusion. There is no need to torture your body or to trouble your mind. What is needed is to get absorbed in your consciousness or to meditate on it. This gives rise to viveka of various kinds. When you thus get established in pure consciousness and meditate, you comprehend fresh meaning in the scriptures that you had already read earlier. There is no thought without some self-interest, and that leads to bondage. Hence, encouraging good thoughts purifies the intellect, which is after self-interest. The self-love which is in everybody is pure love. If you get tired saying Jaya Guru, continue doing it silently. Guru means consciousness, and calling him means self-awakening. Remembering the Guru is a sign of a great fortune. He is infinite, but he expresses through you as consciousness. All activities happen in the presence of consciousness. But after self-realization, it loses all attributes. It becomes nirguna. When the consciousness gets purified and holy by Jaya Guru chant, it becomes nirguna. In the impure state, it was called guna. Throughout his life, Krishna was busy in activities but untouched by attributes. Is it not difficult to call someone as nirguna while one is alive and active? All disorders and wrongdoings are due to concepts and emotions. All worldly activities are based on emotions. I don't advise you to give up anything, but only know what is. The Raja's quality in you will always expect some fruit for every action. What is your bondage other than your attachment to relationships and possessions? Due to Rajas, your interest is more in others than in your own self. In reality, there are others, including all nature, only when you are yourself present. What is the indication for the presence of Narayana? Our consciousness is Narayana, in which the aspects male, Nara, and female, Nari, are present. When the sattva quality is pure, it is termed Narayana. One's ignorance about pure sattva leads to unhappiness. Those who realize their consciousness as free of attributes do not like living amongst people and leave for some solitary places like the Himalayas. The consciousness of the entire world is very active, but by nature it is pure, nirguna. The movement of your consciousness only indicates the movement of the Guru. This should always remind you of your closeness to the Guru. Without prana, where is the power to act? How can the knower of prana be adversely affected by it? Always remember that the form of Raghava is like the space. That is also our true form. Self-love in the body is the main trouble. The knower in body is formless and cannot be seen. He is aware of everything. His existence is in name only, and he has no needs. If you become one with him, your desires will end. You are aware of space, but it has an end. You must develop a conviction that you have no end. As long as you believe that you are visible, you will also have an end. When you go around the world, you believe yourself to have a form. As long as there is your form, you cannot have eternal peace. If you like to hear this talk, give it your full attention. If you listen correctly, your entire world will come to an end, but not you. There is no need to look for your true self. It is enough to know that you are believing the false to be true. It is true that after self-realization your consciousness is of no use to you, but your company will purify it. Then people will come to see you and be holy. Then you will come to know that you are not your consciousness. Even so, people will worship your consciousness. Before realization, you may become wiser by your material knowledge, but your body identification will not go. However, it should. Just as the house is mine, but I am not it, consciousness is mine, but I am not it. All visible beings have time limit, and you call the end as death. Even your use of I indicates your body identity. Your name, form, and consciousness combine to form Maya. You are their knower, but in reality you have no self-consciousness. From this you have to understand the true state. Consciousness has an end, and one who is aware of it is its knower. But consciousness is not aware of the knower. The knower got an idea of his existence, but he was not the idea, but its knower. Ignore all spiritual talk in this world, as people say anything that occurs to them. The human body is the best of all forms, but it can be the worst rubbish. Our beingness is the quality of food material, and when it is about to go, you say, I am dying. The immortal has the experience of being, which is bound to vanish, but the immortal will remain forever. Consciousness comes to know that there is sickness, but I, the changeless, am unaffected. A mother is unhappy to see an infant in pain, but she is separate and unaffected. Similarly, a jnani is without any activity and steady. He is not consciousness and cannot interfere with it. You want knowledge which can fit into your memory, but memory is the quality of the 5 elemental food juices. When consciousness leaves, there is no self-consciousness. You say the knower of consciousness also vanishes, but who is there to witness the absence of knower? If you say after consciousness nothing remains, then who will ask you this question? What will you achieve by rejecting these words? Your fear of death will remain intact. You are always comfortable with your idea of, I am like this. You always need some support. And if there is no support, you will definitely say, I am entire Brahman. Only a rare one can remain without I am. When I say I am a knower, that is for your information. Consciousness is the great Maya, Jagadamba or mother of this world. For Jnani it is only like a shadow. All of you are spiritual, but what are you interested in during the whole day? All your needs are restricted to what you know or remember. When memory of the body goes, how are you related to your wife? Consciousness is very intelligent and there is no limit to what it can do. But for a jnani, it is like a shadow. It is responsible for waking sleep and happiness or unhappiness. When one is not this consciousness, where is pain and pleasure? When I am least concerned with consciousness, how am I affected by its relatives and friends? If I call someone a fool, I am only accusing my own consciousness, as all are contained in it. If you continue to listen to this knowledge, you are going to be without any covering. Be free of concepts. Remember this. Stop coming here if you wish to hold on to your concepts. Are not memories and hopes your bondage? Your body is seen by that which is in the body, and it is called consciousness. In the initial stage, we say consciousness is your form. It is incorrect for consciousness to identify with body. A jnani doesn't accept whatever that is seen as true. People are not aware that the experience of the world results from ignorance. The knowingness in the body is created by pure ignorance. Ignorance is that which we are not. The ignorance that appeared was confined for 9 months. Thereafter it came out in this world. It was tasting milk, urine, and excretion equally without any difference. Knowledge has appeared from ignorance, and it vanishes when ignorance goes. You will get acquainted with your true nature by yoga meditation. The absence of self-consciousness is called samadhi. It is necessary to know what is confined for 9 months. But even great sadhus also do not think about it. Who comes to know one's being? It is due to consciousness and prana that we become aware of our being. It is ignorance itself that takes all appearances as true. The word guru is very important, and it doesn't represent an individual. The guru is that due to which all manifestation occurred. In the beginning, know that you are not the body, and remain as consciousness. If you find that difficult to practice, call it as Rama, Krishna, and Brahman, and worship them as the guru. This is the best practice. In order to propitiate your consciousness, worship it with full faith as the guru. That is real devotion, which raises consciousness to the stature of God. You know your existence because of consciousness. But the knower of consciousness is without self-consciousness. Our consciousness takes many forms. The knower of consciousness as ignorance loses his self-consciousness. It is very extraordinary to see the conviction of everybody that his or her own understanding is correct. During the 9-month confinement, there was creation of ignorance along with waking sleep and thirst hunger. The self-love in the body is the main trouble. For calming it, all sorts of things are done by people. It is not possible to know the secret of self-love without devotion to the Satguru. It is only through pure ignorance that there is creation of this great field called the world. All this is information about the consciousness, which is listening. Now you are aware of your being, which is also untrue. And as long as it continues, you are bound to suffer. This knowledge is so simple and open that it cannot attract many listeners. People gather in large numbers where the teaching is complicated and difficult. Just as fragrance emanates from the navel of a musk deer, the fragrance I am emanates from within you. You should know its cause. The consciousness in body is quality of the consumed food juices, and thereby you know you are. In case the supply of food is not adequate, then prana will be badly affected and your sense of being will vanish. Give attention to the listener. Did it hear? And whose information is it? At the right time you will have the Satguru's grace. Then the trouble of birth, death will be over. Chidanand is joy of existence. Is it spontaneous, or has it come due to your choice? Do you need information about how to obtain this Chidanand? Our consciousness has occurred without desiring, but all other desires follow only thereafter. You are listening to this talk as if it doesn't concern you, but I am telling your information, which is also our own information. Does consciousness have a beginning? And if so, is it known to it? Yes, you will know it when you stabilize in consciousness. That which is one without a second. What will it realize? We come to know our being, and to tolerate it, we need many things. We will be able to be comfortable with consciousness only when we have its full knowledge. Hence, dive deep into consciousness and remain right there. Then you'll know the origin of consciousness and also its ending, and only then will you attain full contentment. Your consciousness is always accompanied by prana, followed by mind. So where can you go beyond the mind? You are always prior to mind. As you take yourself to be the body with reference to it, there is going here, there, up, and down. Atma, or its knowledge, Adhyatma, is prior to everything else. In Adhyatma there is self-knowledge, which contains everything. The idea of going beyond is a great human error. Our body is merely food material which is to be dropped one day. In body there is love to exist, which is Chidanand. If you called Adhyatma is Parabrahman, consciousness can be called Brahman, which means everything. You are living as a body. And will you die with the same understanding? You have willingly accepted body which is full of blood and flesh as your form. Chidanand is a spontaneous joy and not something attained by you. The body is beautiful and attractive because of consciousness. In its absence there will be a very offensive odor. Then what is of importance? You are the creation of the body juices, and you are alive due to bodhisattva and these juices. Have you come from Vaikuntha, the abode of Lord Vishnu? By taking interest in spirituality, what do you want to become? At the root of your existence is the eternal truth. If you have understood it, what is the use of any further spiritual study, except for entertainment? The various fields of arts and knowledge are also for entertainment. What is the purpose of your coming here? You must know what you are in reality. The appearance of your body is the cause of all your doubts and questions. Otherwise, what was the need to talk? Every word of yours helps you to pass time. Our words entertain us, and the same can also land us in trouble. That which is prior to words is always unharmed by anything. You may ask me, what is the benefit of listening to you? All desires and actions for profits are short-lived. All your sincere beliefs will abandon you one day. If one lives very long, what will be one's condition? How long can one last when one is the creation of food juices and one depends totally on their supply? Keep this in mind while loving people. The appearance of this body is a calamitous occasion. It is like facing something totally different. Never entertain a doubt that as a result of listening to these talks, your desire for family life will end. Only remember that whatever you are doing will not last. A man and a woman are different shapes of food bodies. Hence remember that it is wrong to call yourself a man or a woman. Only know that even your attention which remembers will not remain. How different are love and self-love. It is all right as long as people tolerate each other. Is there eternal love for anybody? Do you, at least, love yourself eternally? When you listen to this, you will give love the importance it deserves. Even then, love others more than your love for yourself. Whatever is spontaneous is always in order. It will be troublesome if you try to make changes and show undue mercy. If you increase people's lifespan, there will be no limit to increase of population, and then what will they eat? Can you promote happiness by showing mercy? A king is always feared in proportion to his greatness. Hence, sage Tukaram opted to remain as small as possible. There are devotees who desire poverty to be as poor as Parabrahman. It is without any possessions. None can beat it in poverty and also in happiness riches. With the Guru's grace there is end of name and form. It is said that the Satguru is Parabrahman, full Brahman. People talk about Parabrahman, but it is without self-consciousness. What is going to happen to whatever you guard carefully? It is all going to vanish. Remember this while loving others. After self-knowledge, the 5 elements and 3 qualities all become quiet. Then there are no mental modifications. Parabrahman is that which is unaffected by even thousands of universal dissolutions. It supports all, but cannot do anything. The removal of our sense of being is called Vijnana. In every word of Ramdas there is affirmation of Brahman and also its negation. With knowingness, there is taking care of the things we like and their worship. It is useless to identify with the body and try for its well-being. The knowingness is bound to vanish. Any interval is the waiting for a certain time. The manifested and moving can be witnessed, but not the unmanifested and still. Your consciousness has not come traditionally, but its appearance is sudden and uninvited. Space is the light of your feeling of being awake. Other elements follow thereafter. There is no creator other than the slightest waking. The concept of time follows space, and we measure our lifespan. There is no understanding just by listening, but one has to go deeper to investigate the waking state. You must know what waking is, as in it there are all appearances. Then, the trouble regarding your birth and death will be over. There is no such thing as liberation. Did you put in any effort to become conscious of your existence? No, because it was self-luminous. Without the Guru's grace, you cannot know what waking is. But there is the Guru's grace as soon as one develops the urge to know what the waking state is. There are many kinds of joy, but all are temporary. What remains when the joy is over? You may become great by chanting and penance, but the greatest of all is the knowledge of your own consciousness, which frees you from all experiences. When you meditate on an idol, your consciousness becomes steady for some time. As a result, one sees the desired visions. To see the form of idol in consciousness is called satyakar, or realization. But ultimately this is useful to know the root of consciousness. But this must be known while the body and prana last. The one who has steady wisdom is called sthita prajna. Devotion to the Guru is a must to know the cause of consciousness. Atma is not born, but the states of waking, sleep, hunger, and thirst are born. To satisfy them, a man has to struggle a lot. Nothing is true. It's only fun or a play. There is a need for viveka, otherwise one gets lost in misapprehension. In reality, you are beyond all states. You are the eternal truth. Body identification cannot help remaining as Atma. The consciousness is witnessed round the clock. A jnani is one who has nothing to achieve. He is in the non-dual state and always unstained. Such a state is beyond attention. When attention vanishes, the ignorant calls it death. The appearance of attention lasts always for a certain duration. You can describe millions of experiences, but the one who experiences is beyond description. Even after self-knowledge, you will continue to do what occurs to you and what you like. I am talking about the appearance of consciousness, which was not and will not remain. That which always exists cannot be described. One who claims to know truth doesn't know it. The truth is always silent. What was without waking and sleep? What can it know about the earlier events? The so-called birth is an appearance of the waking and sleep state. Your present experience is due to your knowingness. Is that knowingness a man or a woman, black or white? How can you stop this knowingness? The knowingness which has appeared unknowingly? How can you hold it deliberately? The knowingness accompanies all the food body forms right from an ant and worm to Lord Brahma. Not knowing is considered to be the other side of knowingness, but in the absence of the latter there is nothing. The 5 elements and 3 gunas are the creation of knowingness. In its absence, all vanish, but none dies. The jnani is the eternal truth, and you say that witnessing happens to him, but he doesn't say so. When body and prana exist, there is knowingness. But this is a finding only after the appearance of knowingness and not before. What if there is no knowingness at all? The experience due to knowingness can go any time. The knowingness is of no use to know the truth. The dream knowingness is for a few moments, but appears to last for ages. The knowingness is neither a man nor a woman, and not even Brahman. It is nothing, but everything exists because of it. People keep themselves busy going here and there. Why? It is because they are uncomfortable with their consciousness. In one of the poems of Sage Eknath, there is a mention of a scorpion bite, which means knowingness itself. In order to get a solution to all your problems, meditate on knowingness. Where are the highest principles? These are the only words. If you comment about someone as a great sadhu, I will say he is greater than that. I really know that he was never born. It is all only humor, which has no rule and regulation. When you listen to all this, you may comment that Maharaj is the greatest fool in this vast world. People may call me a complete fool or a complete man, but not in between. For the entire 24 hours, we are aware of Atma, but it is not noticed due to our body identification. Due to that, we fail to live as Atma. Every human being is full of knowledge, as per his or her own concepts. Every spiritual guru gives an initiation as per his own concept. This applies even to Rama and Krishna, etc. There are many religions, and one would prefer to die rather than accept another's religion. In reality, waking, sleep, thirst, and hunger are the only religion. There is agreement when feelings and emotions do not differ. In this world, there are many religions, and each insists on its correctness. All your questions will be solved by meditation on your knowingness. An infant is named by looking at its body. There is knowingness, which is then dormant. Your parents named you looking at your body. But now you have to rename yourself as per your new understanding. Because of consciousness, there is Jiva, or the individual soul. But with knowledge, it is worthy of being Ishwara. Hence, we come across the term Jiveshwar. Our bodies are nothing but accumulated food material. The mind is as per the quality of food body. The consciousness is like space that is uniformly smooth without any breaks. We love that which we need most. Our normal love is not without a need. In order to know the cause of consciousness, we must solely meditate on it and forget all the rest. That can be called as mixing consciousness with itself or Atma with Atma. Your desires attract rebirth, which is not the case for the desireless. Your body is that of a human being, but not of Atma. One who knows what consciousness is liberated while alive. Atma remains without any action but gives power to prana to act. You must find out how experiencing happens and to whom. What you see with closed eyes is Ganesh Yama, a deep blue or deep black. One who is absorbed in seeing Ganesh Yama becomes free of all troubles. One who is purified by seeing one's own true nature naturally becomes benevolent. Who can really be beneficent? One who sees others as oneself. Atma is one and the same in all. Then on whom will you practice witchcraft? One who is devoted to self becomes Atma of all. Now you remain as consciousness. and do not consider others as jivas. If you recognize the worthiness of Atma, you will attain the same yourself. Look at others also as Atma. Those who come to this ashram must have got guidance from the inner God. All actions are in His hands. Those who come have no rebirth. Look at all living beings as yourself. Be sure that there is no God other than self. Worship it as yourself, without any desires and demands.